Hey, brother, he's goat beef once again, brother. What the fuck? He did it. Alex Pereira did it. He proved everyone wrong. He proved myself wrong. Thank you, Alex Pereira, for setting everything right once again. It turns out that you don't want to piss off Alex Pereira, right? Certain fighters, you just don't want to make them emotional because certain people can just harness it, I guess. And Alex Pereira harnessed it with those 12-6 elbows to the ribs and temple of Ankalaev, and the shit was brutal. It was vindictive, and I loved every little bit of it. Yes, I did. Walked him down, landed the right hand. Oh, but you just have to put them Ankalaev, brother. Just put them Ankalaev. All the nerds, right, with their fucking gay little fucking TikTok edits.
Pereira wrestled for 2 years straight, Olympic champion.
For 1 minute, Abdullaev sent him 10-0.
Then why has nobody done this to him in MMA? He doesn't know.
Put him on Ankalaev. Yes, put him against Ankalaev.
Chama. Brother.
Interesting how suddenly Ankalaev became the best thing since sliced bread the second that he beats Alex Pereira. Oh, Alex Pereira was only champion because he avoided Ankalaev for so... Would you look at that? Right, a minute and 20 seconds? And he gets his revenge? Right? Minute and 20 seconds? Put him Ankalaev, though. Just put him Ankalaev, I guess, right? So I guess that's the end of that. All of the quote-unquote coping from Alex Pereira after their first fight, talking about how he wasn't healthy, he wasn't ready, all the activity was getting to him. Well, turns out that that was probably correct, because even going into this one, Alex Pereira looked more shredded, right? You could tell he was retaining less water. He just looked more healthy. You could tell. He looked a lot more healthy, more prepared this time around. And holy shit, man, is anyone scarier in the UFC? Besides maybe a bloodlusted Yuri Prochazka, which we saw on this card as well, which we'll get into, of course. Oh my goodness. But is there anyone scarier than Alex Pereira on the front foot from the first second? What are you supposed to do when this man is on the gas from the first second? This was inevitable, and I felt like everyone realized that from that first second, as soon as Alex Pereira started plotting forward and put that jab in Ankalaev's face, I think everyone realized, right? This was going to be a different fight. And I knew I was going to be wrong right away. And I was smiling ear to ear, just knowing that a certain insufferable subsect of the fan base was going to be in distress. So thank you. MMA has finally given back to us. But what does this mean for Alex Pereira and his legacy? Where does he rank now? Because people were putting him in like the top 15, like top 20, I feel like minimum people were ranking him. So now that he beat the quote-unquote nightmare matchup, where does he rank? And then if he goes out there and he defends against Olberg, where does he rank then? And then he goes up to heavyweight, and let's say he actually gets it done and he becomes a three weight class world champion. Does he become the greatest fighter of all time? Probably, right? You would think that he probably does. If he goes out there and he knocks out Aspinall, let's say, or even if he was to knock out Jones at the White House, which I know he was talking about in the post-fight presser. I'm not too sure if that'll be made, you know, with the whole thing surrounding John Jones' brother, right? Rest in peace. It's a horrible thing that happened. Absolutely horrible. That family's been through a lot of shit. They really have, and a death in the family is the last thing that they need. It's just a horrible thing. So Alex was trying not to push for it too hard, but you can tell that that's the fight that he wants. He wants to be on that White House card against John Jones. That would be the greatest crescendo to his career. But with how active that he is and he has been, it wouldn't surprise me if he goes out there and he defends the title first against Olberg. That would just be like goat shit. It really would. For him to win the title back, defend it, and then move up would be amazing. It really would be. But for Ankalaev, I think maybe do Ankalaev versus Yuri. That's a sick fight. I was really hoping to see that fight next if Ankalaev was to go out there and beat Alex, but now that he didn't, it makes all the sense in the world, right? Yuri, I know he put together a couple of very impressive wins, but he was knocked out twice by Alex, so is it of much interest to see him against Alex again? Unless he goes out there and he beats one more guy? Probably not, right? So most likely Alex Pereira versus Olberg. Maybe we even see it before the end of the year, which is just a crazy thought, but Alex Pereira is just that kind of guy. He's that kind of champion. But holy shit, dude, I really expected Alex Pereira's age to catch up to him. I thought that was maybe the culprit in his first performance against Ankalaev. I thought it was just the age catching up to him and Ankalaev just being that foil for him, but it turned out nah, he wasn't prepared the first time around, and Alex Pereira is just that fucking guy. And everyone was doubting him, including myself. I started to have that doubt for him, not because I thought he was washed up or anything, or not because I believe that he was never that good. No. I've always been very clear in my thoughts on Alex Pereira that I still think he's an all-time great. I always thought he was an all-time great, but everyone has their time. And it turns out that Alex Pereira's time ain't over yet. It ain't over yet. And Yuri was every single one of us, at least, every single like self-respecting person watching the fight. He represented every single one of us. What a pure soul, man. He got knocked out twice by Alex Pereira. And this man had like visible tears while watching his greatest foe overcome his greatest challenge. That is a pure soul. That is a true warrior. Love Yuri Prochazka. Absolutely love the man. Our favorite fighter. And there's no debate. Wow, it turns out that Ali Abdelaziz with his Twitter fingers really did write a check that Ankalaev's ass couldn't cash. Right? If I was Ankalaev, man, I'd be so pissed. I would KO Ali Abdelaziz on the spot next time I saw him. Because if it really was him, right, with his Twitter fingers behind the scenes, trying to rile shit up and trying to sell the fight, there you go. The potentially humble, quiet guy, Ankalaev, now has to take the heat as a result, right? But then again, I always say it. He's a grown man. Even if it was Ali Abdelaziz on his behalf making those tweets, he still must answer for them because it's on his own platform. But dude, the fight was so short that there's really not a whole lot to talk about as far as the performance goes. I mean, all Alex Pereira had to land was one shot on the feet, and Ankalaev was pretty much done. He was pretty much done, right? Those 12-6 elbows were nasty. I don't believe it was an early stoppage, if I'm being totally real. I know some people will say early stoppage, but Ankalaev was not defending himself, and he was eating the full force of those 12-6s. So, no, it was not an early stoppage. It was a good stoppage. Great performance from Alex Pereira. He's the man. Ankalaev, put him Yuri Prochazka. Maybe send him to fucking Arkansas for a few years, maybe so he can learn how to wrestle. And we'll see how he comes back, see if he comes back better than ever. And yeah, dude, I'm rooting for Ankalaev, dude. So, yeah. Let's move on to the co-main event, because that was also quite a crazy fight. Merab's the GOAT. I mean, he was already the GOAT of bantamweight beforehand. Now, at this point, he's just slowly but surely approaching, like, just straight-up GOAT status if he continues defending the belt like this. And imagine he goes up and he fights whoever the featherweight champion is at that time. I would love to see him against Volkanovski, because now that Merab is actually throwing some heat in his shots, now I actually want to see that fight, because that was my biggest worry from Merab before, is that Volkanovski would be able to match him with the cardio. May not be able to match that pace, but match with the cardio, at least be able to keep the fight on the feet with his, obvious physicality that Volkanovski does have, and his natural strength that he seems to possess, being a rugby player and all that. In the past, I expected Volkanovski to have a little bit too much for Merab, but Merab is now a big puncher suddenly. He actually rocked Corey and almost had him out of there in the second round. Even I underestimated Merab. I laughed at the idea of him going out there and starching Corey Sandhagen, and he almost did it. But having said that, this was a decent performance from Corey Sandhagen. He actually fought the fight that he had to fight here. He did. There wasn't really much more he could do, because Merab's pace breaks everybody. And I would say that Corey Sandhagen was in it until the end. Even after he was rocked, man, big credit to him for getting back into the fight and continuing to make it somewhat competitive. You can probably give the first round to Corey, and I'm sure there's another round here and there, maybe even the fifth, right? If he really did sting Merab at the end of the fifth round, which it looked like he may have done, then maybe you can give him round 5 as well. But it was a clear win for Merab. Very, very dominant. Honestly, entertaining, man. People are still crying about how Merab is a boring champion. He just likes to lay and pray, he likes to hug and all that. He almost had Corey out of there on the feet. He was taking a lot of risks on the feet. Yes, in order to secure certain rounds here and there, maybe close rounds, rounds that were closely contested on the feet. Yeah, Merab, of course, is going to take the fight to the ground so he can secure those rounds. But this is a very entertaining performance, and Merab hasn't been boring for like the last 4 or 5 fights at this point, so enough, man. No, Merab is not boring. If you don't like to see that, then I'm just going to assume that you just don't like to see Merab fight in general, or you're just not a fan of Merab in general, because there's just nothing to hate about that performance there. That is a dominant champion performance. He took risks, he went into the fire, and for him to show these fight over fight improvements at his age is just scary, man. I fear that the only thing that can go out there and beat Merab would be Father Time. That's the only way I can see Merab losing. It's the only way, dude. He's just too good. And the fact that he's actually rocking dudes now, people with like granite chins like Corey Sandhagen, man, who beats Merab? I know that's the narrative after every single one of Merab's fights, but who beats Merab? Is it Peter Yan? I mean, you guys know he's my favorite fighter in the world, but no, I don't think Peter Yan beats Merab. Merab has shown that he can do that to everybody. And that's it. And if you don't have that one-punch knockout power to really put him on his heels, then you can't stop what he's going to do to you. It's inevitable every single time. Everyone knows what's going to happen, and he does it. And it's so impressive. I love Dvalishvili. And who does he fight next? Who gives a shit? It's probably going to be Peter Yan, honestly, and it should be Peter Yan. But even as the biggest Peter Yan fan, and because I'm the biggest Peter Yan fan, I don't even want to see that fight because I'm not confident at all in Peter Yan's chances. What does Corey Sandhagen do next? I'm not too sure if the Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong fight is official. I know it's being rumored, or maybe it has been made official, but to my knowledge, it hasn't been yet. So what I would do is finally make that Corey Sandhagen Sean O'Malley fight, right? Eventually, obviously, Corey will have to take some time off because he did take some damage here. But hopefully, we can see that Corey Sandhagen versus Sean O'Malley fight made. I know a lot of people were hoping that it would be for a belt. Just wasn't to be, but hopefully the UFC smartens up and just gives us his fight. But honestly speaking, Corey is just better than Sean O'Malley, so I think he beats him wherever that fight is. So I doubt the UFC will make that because they'll do whatever they can to push Sean O'Malley and will squeeze any bit of cash out of Sean O'Malley as they possibly can. So giving him a hard matchup, unless it's for the belt, is just quite unlikely, right? The Song Yadong matchup makes a lot more sense on paper for Sean. It's a lot more winnable. So that's the fight that'll most likely be made.
It's an honor to fight you. I see you next time. I'm going to get you next time. Hey, you're an animal.
End of the 3th round, you got me.
I know. You got me good in the second. You almost finished me. I know.
Thank you, baby.
All right, yeah.
Now, I love these types of moments between competitors, right? Merab, you can tell he was just happy to have a worthy competitor because honestly, Corey proved that he deserved to be in there on the night. He did. He deserved to be in there. It was a good performance, about as good as you can expect a performance to be against Merab Dvalishvili. And I think Corey has a lot to be proud about here. Two humble dudes just showing each other respect afterwards. I like to highlight these moments because that's honestly what fighting's all about, and I love the shit. But let's move on to Yuri Prochazka versus Khalil Roundtree, bro. Oh my goodness. Is there anyone truly more entertaining, more exciting to watch than Yuri Prochazka? No, there's nobody like Yuri Prochazka. He is one of one, absolutely unique individual. Nobody like him, and we're so lucky. I feel grateful, I feel blessed to just be alive to witness someone like Yuri Prochazka perform, because I've never seen anything like it, dude. For him to take beatings like this, like happening as Rakic, where he was getting beat up for the first round, wasn't able to land a whole lot of his own. Yeah, landed a couple of good shots, but getting lit up for the most part. But it's just when he decides to turn on, and I know Yuri in the past has always been down on himself after wars like this, right? He's down on himself, where he's talking about how he wants to show mastery, this and that. Like Yuri Prochazka can show that. He can be smooth. He can go in there, slip up the center line, and counter you like he did against Jamal Hill. But then he can also dig deep like nobody else. And that's what makes him so hard to beat. So you need that one hitter quitter, like sharp punching power like Alex Pereira has. If not, you simply won't get this guy off you. You can't get this guy off you. You cannot deter him. And despite how odd Yuri Prochazka was moving around for the first 2 rounds, like it looked like he potentially had like a knee injury or something. He wasn't able to get his footing. Despite how odd he looked, I knew it. I knew that he would find the finish in the 3rd round. There was never a doubt in my mind, weirdly, despite how odd he looked. It didn't make any sense. I never once doubted him. And towards the end of the 2nd round, it was actually very similar to my prediction, right? In my prediction, I said 3rd round TKO I thought it would be, but he actually just sparked him with the left hook, which I mean, hey, I'll take that as well. But I said by the end of the 2nd round, it'll be very clear that Yuri Prochazka has taken over the fight, and it was very clear by the end of the 2nd. But the damage that he put on Khalil was just insane. The amount of damage that Yuri Prochazka can deal to you in such a short amount of time is ridiculous. He busted up Khalil's eye, and then you could see when his soul left his body, he just cannot dig deep like that. And I said that in my prediction. I knew it, right? Not many fighters can dig deep like that against Yuri Prochazka. In fact, I don't think anyone can. If Yuri is to drag you into deep waters, I don't think anybody else can handle him when he's bloodlusted and when he's coming forward with no regard for his own safety. Nobody can handle him like that. And Khalil Roundtree, he's just too comfortable being complacent in these fights, right? He's such a big hitter. He's fast. He's explosive. He needs to take more risks, man. He should have put himself on the front foot more often here rather than just letting Yuri Prochazka plot forward and then relying on his counter shots. Yeah, it was effective at times, and it looked like he potentially hurt Yuri Prochazka at times. But then eventually Yuri Prochazka started feinting his way into range and just kind of mixing up Khalil, and it led to Khalil swinging and missing. And once he started to swing and miss like that, throwing those big looping shots that were whiffing completely, I knew that we would witness a classic Yuri Prochazka performance in the third round. I knew what we were about to see, but that third round delivered more than any round in UFC history. Holy shit, dude. Just insane. I don't know what else to say. It was just so brutal, so harrowing to witness the damage that Khalil took. Like, credit to him, man. But he's just taken so much damage in his last 3 fights. I know against Jamal Hill, he didn't take a whole lot, but eerily similar, the beatings he took from Alex Pereira and Yuri Prochazka, eerily similar, and that can't be good for your career. It cannot be good for your health whatsoever. So Khalil, I think, should take most definitely a lot of time off after this one. The damage he took was just, it's an ungodly amount of damage, man. But thank you, Yuri Prochazka and Khalil Roundtree, for yet another all-time great war. Man, Yuri Prochazka is seriously, he is what every man thinks that they are. Right? In the face of adversity, in the face of danger, we all would like to think that we would be as courageous and as unyielding as Yuri Prochazka, but that's exactly why he's built different, man. Just love the fight. Love the dude. Khalil Roundtree, like, thank you for the sacrifices that you've made for your mental health and your physical health and everything, but please, dude, take as much time off as you possibly need. Probably a year off after that one. I'm just hoping that Khalil Roundtree doesn't suffer like long-term health complications as a result of the damage he's taken recently. Like, it's reminding me of like someone like Mateusz Rebecki, where it's just war after war, like not just your average war as well, but like grueling war where heavy damage is taken. Please, Khalil Roundtree, man, take the time that you need. I cannot stress that enough. Yuri Prochazka, holy shit, I love you. I love you. And I'll just leave it at that, man. But let's talk about the other fights in this card and some of the results that took place.
Hey.
Veronica Hardy got it done against Brogan Walker, and I think in identical fashion that all of us were predicting, and she's just too technical for someone like Brogan Walker, and that is an advantage that Veronica Hardy has against many of these women. She just doesn't have the power to really put any of them away. But yeah, good win for Veronica Hardy. She was looking damn good as well. Ramiz Brahimaj proved me wrong when I picked Austin Vanderford by decision. I thought he'd be able to control Ramiz, but nah, man, he's been showing fight over fight improvements. He found the guillotine, it looked like, and Austin Vanderford had no answer. He just tried to shoot the same takedown over and over again, and he could not adjust, and very well-deserved loss here. It's always great to see someone who is attempting to just smudge their opponent fail at said game plan. So very happy to be wrong about this one. Great performance and great finish from Ramiz Brahimaj. Chris Gutierrez versus Farid Basharat went exactly as I expected as well, with Farid just being better everywhere and Chris Gutierrez being too complacent, not doing enough, showing no urgency, of course, until the last 10 seconds, where he finally feels like, okay, now it's worth taking a risk, because honestly, Chris Gutierrez is an anti-fighter, and I'm very happy to see him lose. I love when he loses fights because he doesn't go in there to actually fight. Farid Basharat, decent performance. The fight was all right, but I won't remember it tomorrow, most likely. In fact, I don't even remember how it went right now. Macy Chiasson versus Yana Santos. At least these two ladies delivered a scrappy little war. It was actually kind of a fun fight to watch. And Macy Chiasson, I gave her way too much credit going into this one. Yana Santos deserved to win that by decision. Yeah, man, at least this was a fun one. Punelle Soriano versus Veretennikov. Now, this one, I think, went the opposite way to many people expected. Many people expected, including myself, for Puna to win. I thought first round KO, right? It looked like we were getting to that point, maybe with the ground and pound, but I was surprised by the grappling-heavy approach from Punelle Soriano, and honestly, past the first round, it was not very entertaining. So, uncharacteristically boring performance from Punelle, but he did get the decision, rightfully so. Edmund Shabazian got it done late in the first round against Andre Muniz. First round KO as expected. I expected Edmund to get it done, man. Muniz is just too chinny at this point in his career. And it was a similarly light-looking shot that he got put out with once again, right? The shot that he got taken out with from, who was it? Liskarov, I believe, right? Where he landed that little shot that looked like it maybe touched him on the chin just a little bit, gingerly. But he was put on wobbly legs and then finished with ground and pound. Same situation here. Muniz just has no chin, but at the same time, Edmund can crack. And he's in great form, dude. He's in great form. Edmund Shabazian, maybe a dark horse in the division, but probably not. Now it is confirmed, yes, Patchy Mix, he's not UFC level, neither is Jakub Wicklacz, but at least Wicklacz is young and can improve, so I can understand giving him the decision there. But realistically, man, I thought, watching the fight live, that Patchy had done enough to win. I forget which rounds in particular, but at the same time, Patchy really wasn't able to do a whole lot in this one, just kind of trying to lay him prey on Wicklacz, not taking a whole lot of risks. Looked like he was just playing the safest possible way to pick up his first win in the UFC. So for that reason, he doesn't deserve a win in the UFC. So sure, give it to Jakub Wicklacz. But wow, this fight was just very low level. It felt very low level. And like, am I excited to see Wicklacz come back? No, but he did show some pretty, crafty techniques on the ground. And there were some fun grappling exchanges here and there. But this one didn't turn out to be the sloppy barn burner that I was expecting. It really wasn't that entertaining of a fight. But yeah, sure, Wicklacz got the win, and Patchy Mix will probably be cut now. And here we have yet another fight that I was completely wrong about. Jusang Yu got KO'd in the second round by Daniel Santos after showboating and having some fun in the first, which I don't want to hate on Jusang Yu for. I like the guy. I like him. I enjoy somebody who likes to, showboat and make the fight more entertaining. I like that, man. I like that. But it did look pretty bad when he got put out in the second round. It looked like a pretty light shot as well. Jusang Yu maybe needs to learn how to keep his hands up a little bit. It seemed inevitable the way he was pulling out of range. It seemed inevitable that Daniel Santos would catch him. And he did, man. He fucking finished like 2 Korean prospects back to back. Now, this man is the Drew Dober, but of Koreans. So Korean fighters, steer clear of this man. If you're in the same weight class as him, move up or move down. Whatever you have to do, stay away from Santos if you're Korean, please. But good performance, man. And Jusang Yu, he's a fun fighter. So even though he lost this one, I hope to see him return. And I just want to see him be like a mainstay in his respective division, maybe as like one of these unranked gatekeepers. He's just a fun guy. He's a fun guy to watch, man. So yeah, man, good win from Daniel Santos there. Atiba Gauthier did the obvious. He's insane. I understand it was just Tristan Vines, whoever the fuck that was, and he clearly didn't look like he was interested in fighting Gauthier because he knew the inevitable was going to happen, and it happened, man. Anytime he engaged at all, Gauthier was catching him with a nice knee. And I love this sprawl and brawl style that he comes in there with. He's also built like a brick shithouse and actually has some legitimate boxing skills. So, dude, Gauthier, he's not a hype job. He's not just any prospect. No, this is a legitimate, scary future contender. And at his age, to be built like that too, man, the guy is sculpted out of fucking stone. Genetics are off the charts, and he has legitimate skills. Yes, Gauthier is a future champion. I have no doubt about it. Holy shit. The finish was weird, but yeah, man, Gauthier did the obvious. Congratulations once again. I fear for his next opponent. Body Bags got it done. Surprised me. I called him one of the more one-dimensional fighters in the UFC, and he proved me completely wrong there. Not that he never had the skills, man, because clearly he's physically gifted. He's a big middleweight, and he's clearly physically strong, can hit very hard, and he has the obvious wrestling and jiu-jitsu chops, but he just never really put it into practice. But for him to go out there and actually sub Abu is very impressive. It's very impressive. I thought Abu would have the clear advantage on the ground, and his game plan was great. It was looking really dicey for him in the first round, Abu taking him down, but it looked like he was waiting for Abu to blow out his arms and then push forward and throw those big right hands, and it just took him landing one clean. That's it, and Abu was done. Man hits like a truck. Good job, Joe Pyfer. The Salty King has done it. And last but not least, we have Yusuf Zalal and his submission victory. First round submission victory against Josh Emmett. Very impressive performance, man. It's very clear that Yusuf Zalal is a talented fighter. He is extremely talented. I thought he would pussyfoot around the octagon and win a decision, but nah, man. He finished the fight in the first round, so I have to give him all the respect in the world. I don't know who he goes up against next. I really don't know, man. He is a tricky fighter to go up against for anyone at 145, just down to his style. Clearly has well-rounded skills as well. He's good. He is good, and a genuine dark horse at 145. Awesome performance, and Josh Emmett, it's an unfortunate one there. Clearly, he's coming towards the end of his career. So maybe we shouldn't put too much stock in this performance from Yusuf Zalal. But it was still a great look for him. It was a great look, and he did what I didn't expect him to do. So I cannot take away from Yusuf Zalal whatsoever. Great performance. But that does conclude my thoughts on UFC 320. really good card, especially when we got to the main card, of course. Yeah, it was really good. Some of the prelims were pretty exciting, but dude, the main, co-main, and featured fight, Yuri Prochazka versus Khalil Roundtree, did some heavy lifting. I could have had those 3 fights alone there, and I would have been satisfied. I would have been satisfied, man. If all the prelims, early prelims were scrapped and shit, I wouldn't have complained just because of how amazing those last 3 fights were. Fantastic card overall, man. I loved it. Poatan is back. Big Ank is no more. Thank goodness, man. It just took all of us turning against Alex Pereira and downplaying him for him to come out here and prove us all wrong. Thank you, man. The MMA gods have listened, and they've given us something good, and I could not be more thankful. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next one.